Leon quite often does offer that flexibility, but for extreme gaming, when they pick it up in the first phase, they always give it to Storm mid.
Oh.
So I'm intrigued to see if that consistency is still going to shine here in this second game. But again, maybe they, because often they'd gone for, usually it was Lena with another core in the first phase, someone like a Mars or something that can have a pretty strong lane, but they've gone double support, which, well, now Abba picked up, so I guess it reveals that it's going to be the Lena as a 2. I don't know how I feel about the Abaddon though, because it doesn't seem the greatest versus AA. Usually Oracle is pretty decent because you have the false promise to overlap the Ice Blast, but a lot of the heals and the sustain that Abaddon will provide is kind of neglected here now.
Yeah, but can usually be good against some of the, the heavy stun lineups, which I think against Puck we've seen it have mixed success because you can break the coil, then pop borrowed time, or if your teammate's coiled, they can break it, then you shield off the stun. Potentially can get them out of a bushwhack as well. So I think, Abba just seems to be a good hero just because you save people from stuns. That to me, every time I see Abba picked, that is pretty much the single reason why it's picked.
It's
Like,
it's
getting
made it
the drip
through.
again. Yeah.
This deep as well.
Yeah, a little surprised based on how well it did. I think the key is not to pick carry that's going to be as hard countered by it. There are good carries available. If they really want to go super safe, you get like the Wraith King, and then you're never getting doomed probably as a Wraith King, or only under weird circumstances will you get doomed. At the same time, I don't think Wraith King is a particularly strong hero right now, so I'm not sure if that's guaranteed. I'd rather almost see like a Terrorblade type pick, where if you're metamorphed and BKB, you should be okay if you get doomed. To me, the big issue was the supports weren't helping out whenever their carry got doomed. You need the 4 staffs. You need to, you need to bail out your teammates if they get doomed.
I think the Abaddon is actually one of the better ways to help burst the Doom because you have the shield to take up a little bit of damage, the coil to get some health back, so you can actually negate a lot of the. You're not going to stop the silence, of course, which takes you out of a fight, but at least maybe you can sustain and reset and turn back around. But as they've already got relatively decent control, we're going to see a Doom into Medusa. So Medusa. I feel like it kind of depends. If you go this Ags build, you then are very, very reliant on being able to use abilities. So that's where the Doom can kind of come into play. Often Medusa doesn't care. Like, you stand your ground, you just right click. But I think that's a little bit different now if you do go that Ags route.
I like Medusa here. I think it's one of the better carries against Doom, but it's still a tough game. They can still blow this Medusa up. The Ice Blast basically means all those tanky carries are suddenly killable with the Ice Vortex plus Ice Blast combo. Heroes will die. My main problem with Aster.Aries is they don't really have super reliable stuns. The Doom with the Blink War Stomp we saw, the Puck Coil is there, the Bushwhack, but it's not like that instant, easy, reliable stun. Like, I feel like they're missing that from their draft, and picking a carry, there's not really going to be any stunning carries available unless they want to do something really well, DK's banned, so they're not going to see any kind of DK pick there. Maybe a Wraith King with the AA could work though.
Yeah, especially because they need to pick a carry that will go well into the Medusa already. We've seen that the Anti-Mage as well as the TV being banned out here from Xtreme Gaming. So, yes, the only one that still kind of stands out to me a little bit is the Phantom Lancer, but then it falls back to what you said, GoDz, where don't really have the reliable lockdown, they don't really have the reliable stuns just coming out here for the side of Xtreme Gaming. And who knows? Maybe we could harken back to something that we've seen as Sven yesterday, is what we had here on with, I believe it was Sparking Arrow was playing it, being able to play that Sven with that instant stun. So maybe he might be another hero for them to think about. But it's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of alleviate their, they're just going to go straight into the Ursa.
Yeah, no hesitation. Yeah, a lot of these heroes with stuns, I'm like, having a stun sounds good, but they don't match up well against Dusa. Like the Sven, Wraith King, both are bad. Ursa's better than others against the Medusa, I feel, but still I wouldn't consider a counter. But I think it's a good pick here. It gives them something to play aggressive tempo with. Gives them something to take Roche. They don't have that objective taker. They still don't take buildings very well, but I think overall, Aster.Aries with a solid draft. This Doom has looked really good in their hands, but Xtreme Gaming with a much better draft than game number 1.
Yeah, and I guess looking at this, then Aries, where do we feel like this is going to land for game number 2?
I just have to go Aster.Aries. I mean, Phoenix has played incredible on the park. They get the Doom again. Ulu very much favors the Ursa, one of his strongest heroes, and I think the matchup versus Medusa is pretty decent with the Diffusal Blade build that we see often. He needs second Roche though. If Aster.Aries don't get first Roche and second Roche, then heading into the late game can start to get a bit iffy, but I think they're going to be able to take this game here.
What about you then, God? You said Extreme Gaming feeling like they've got a little bit of a better draft, but is it enough for them to push this to a third game?
If I hadn't seen game one, I would maybe be favoring them based on the draft, but having seen game one, and, you know, I think also just, you know, if I didn't see the team names, I think Aster.Aries, watching them yesterday, they looked really good, even though they got 2-0'd. To me, they're just a team that's on the up and up, and Extreme Gaming has just looked weak overall. So I'm going to go Aster.Aries just based on the gameplay I've seen from these two teams so far.
Yeah, I think it's probably just going to be an idea of recency bias for us here on the panel. The fact that Aster.Aries have looked so dominant, so dominant in their previous match, and then they looked pretty good in their series up against eHome. Unfortunately, losing that 0-2. So it's really going to be on Extreme Gaming, and I think this is going to be an interesting one for us to dive into, see whether or not OOQ can actually break his record here so far in the TI10 closed qualifiers of 900 hero damage. Let's see if game number 2 is going to be that record breaker for him. So I'm going to leave it with GoDz and Aries for game number 2.
Oh, you had to do it to him. I was kind of waiting for Parker to bring it up because you were the person that highlighted that damage in game 1 when we were back off screen there, and I'm like, is someone going to bring it up? Are we actually going to say the damage that it had in game 1? And then Fluky's just got ice in his veins. That was I'm hoping for a better game here for OOQ.
Yeah, it's no. We don't enjoy, you know, flaming players as much as it sometimes, you know, comes out a bit, but that was a shocker of a game from him. He didn't use Chronosphere until the final minute of the game. That was his first Chronosphere. Did 900 hero damage. He had an impossible ask playing Faceless Void that game into some of those heroes on the enemy team. With that said, he still played very poorly. So I want to see, even if Extreme Gaming go out on a 2-0, I want to see a much better game coming out from OOQ. He's the drafter for this team, or at least he was in the... A lot of these teams have coaches, though, so that maybe makes me think it's not necessary. I'm not sure if he's the one drafting or not. It may be their coach drafting, just using his computer. That's often the case. Like I know with, you know, EG, Bulba usually sits down and Arteezy's standing up. So I think he's doing the drafting maybe from Arteezy's computer. I'm not sure how it works, but either way, he needs to have a better game.
Yeah, do you feel like that game could be a little bit better here for him on the Medusa, or is it not as easy of a time for OOQ again?
Yeah, it looks good to me. I think he has to be a little bit worried about those mid lane rotations coming, especially when Doom hits 6. He is susceptible to going down to the Doom plus Puck Dreamcall moves, and that's something that I think if you're Aster.Aries, you're like, okay, well, that's a play we need to make. This Medusa is their win condition. We want to do everything we can to give this Medusa a tough time. But as Medusa, you have to make sure you ditch that lane as soon as it gets dangerous. Head back to your jungle. He's hopefully asking for his Lion to make lots of stacks like we saw last game for the Medusa on the Aster.Aries side. That to me is going to be key for setting him up for success.
Yeah, and it's going to be nice that they are on Dire side. It definitely feels like the Ancients is a lot more easier to farm with being able to pull it to the hard camp as well, and just how you're protected around the triangle. That's where we see a lot of the farm intensive position ones. More than likely they're on that Dire side, but I'm intrigued. What's your thoughts about this bottom lane? Because Extreme Gaming, they've got a pretty aggressive lane, like a Sand King, Lion. Do you feel like they're able to man fight the Ursa?
Yeah, we don't see much sanking. Yeah, I think the good thing about sanking, the Burrow Strike is not just a stun, but it's a gap close, so it allows you to get on top of this AA a bit quicker. I think AA, once there's a few levels on this Extreme Gaming side, we're going to have to see this AA play very carefully in the trees, near the tower, because Sand King Lion will have a lot of kill threat around that kind of level 3 timing.
See how aggressive they're already positioning. Yeah. It's just, when you have that level 2 advantage, you always are looking to be the ones on the front foot here.
Yeah.
Ulu,
No
gonna jump in forward. Yeah, this is gotta be careful
for the caustic, and yeah, they get the Cold Feet proc. Sand King's like, do
So-
I go in? Do I hit? For a second, he turned to hit. Then he's like, no, let's back off and south. So can see both sides. It's kind of nerves when you're thinking about going in, decide not to. A bit of indecisiveness. I don't know what the call was there. I think if he went for the kill, he might have gotten it, but probably would have died to get it. So he decides he doesn't want to trade this life. But getting some really... This is better. That's why he backed off to salve up, because he knows he can win this harass battle with this 1 point in Caustic. And he's got triple Mango for some decent HP regen, as well as to sustain his mana.
How do we feel about this mid lane with Phoenix and Storm going up against it? Is it just going to be a little bit more Lina favored over the Puck? Because I feel like we have seen this matchup a decent amount so far through the qualifiers.
Yeah, my understanding is it's pretty even for the most part. Both heroes have ways to secure range creeps with their nukes. Both heroes are going to be trading water runes 9 times out of 10. So I think Puck can dodge most of Lina's spells and damage so that you don't get harassed out of the lane. I would say it's like at most is a very like 55-45 towards Lina, but it's basically a farm trade. One of the key things I think is having your small camps, because both Lina and Puck farm their small camp very well.
Sand King dead? Oh, he is. Siamese cat. Okay. First blood picked up. Beautifully done. Level 3 advantage.
Yeah, we see it in the mid lane. Lina does not have a small camp. It's been blocked by a Radiant Sentry. This is something we saw a ton in Southeast Asia with the top teams, TNC, Fnatic, Boom. They were always blocking these middle camps to just deny farm. Especially like some of the games with like TAs and stuff, but like TA, Puck, Lina, whichever mid it was with their, whatever nuking mid or AoE damage mid, they just block the camp. Because Puck, what he can do, he's stacking it. He throws out the orb while he farms the creeps mid with the orb while stacking that small camp. Bit of a fight over
Next
these
level
runes.
play. Even Aqua's actually going to TP in, so
Nice.
you see the
LSA
emphasis
timing.
that we have. But Storm's
Hey.
able to pick it up. This
He should be able to deny Puck getting this top rune, or at least Hoodwink has to take it because Lina was going to get it. So really good job preventing Puck from getting either rune, and there's no bounty rune to fall back to. So that was a good move from Xtreme Gaming to help secure this mid lane.
does leave them solo top though. We saw previously what could happen with the free farming Doom, and he's already 25 last hits, level 4. I believe this is phase boots coming out. Now, it also does leave the Medusa solo, so giving her some valuable experience, which is going to be nice if she's forced back into the jungle at an early stage of this game.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how early they can zone this Medusa. I think till Puck starts being in a position to make those rotations, you're at least okay for now. Doom not level 6. Puck getting close to level 6, though. And even if you rotate with that Doom and Puck coil, if the Abaddon is there with shields, maybe just level 2 on the Abaddon isn't going to be enough to help keep him alive, since you don't have any points in the Mist Coil for the heal. And this bottom lane Sanking, I was expecting this lane to go a little bit better, but I think Aster.Aries, recognizing that this is a potential weak point, are dedicating a lot of attention down bottom with both supports.
Yeah, it feels like the Sand King's a hero that we don't really see too often, and I mean, he's getting a decent amount out of the lane, but now that Ulu's able to pick up a couple more levels, we're going to see the Ursa be that much more of a lane dominating hero. It's kind of felt like over the patches, his level 1 and level 2's been a lot weaker than what we're used to see throughout the iteration of Dota, but now level 5, 3 points up in the Fury swipes, Ulu, he should be able to do a fine job at just zoning away the Sand King.
Yeah, that's the thing. You give your Ursa a good start, and suddenly you don't need to have the full-on support dedication there. Radiant have a sentry. They'll force Sand King back, and they are going to chase for more. Yeah, he has to go to TP out. Okay, he doesn't have to. he did have to if they kept chasing, but then once they went back to the creeps, he could cancel his TP.
He's honestly lucky they stopped, because he was TPing back to base. I guess he was predicting them to keep going on, and they would have done a lot of damage with the Fury swipe, so pretty nice there for Sand King. I think he got away a bit lucky.
Oh, if he doesn't TP, they just straight up kill him. So that's why
100%, yeah.
He's got to go for the TP, and then, like you say, that he is fortunate. He's able to not have to TP all the way back to base. But, yeah, 2 points in the Sandstorm now, but it does feel like They're on top of the detection game. They've got dust on the air. You don't want to just throw it out unless you know you've got a kill, but playing around their sentry wards as well.
So it looks like they just sacrificed the Sand King lane, but Lion, he's going to be able to make some stacks in the jungle around the triangle, and we already see Double OQ as well. He's farming a massive stack at the hard. He's also going to try and create a couple of extra ones. That is quite the item for a Medusa. Okay, Mr. Gaben giving them a little bit of help here with the Possess Mask.
Yep, definitely nice. Perhaps a hero that, I mean, definitely, it's good. I don't know if, I'm not sure what the best one is for Medusa. It does give you some pretty good sustain. You can get a bit low when you're farming some of these big stacks, but it's not like Ursa Possess Mask levels of, or Morphling levels of imbalance.
Look at this efficiency
oh
using
my
the
God.
courier too. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go.
sick from Medusa. But top lane, some trouble for Abaddon, who's a bit under level, but we'll be fine. Okay.
We're kind of bringing up in that game one that Xtreme weren't really having this maximum efficiency with a support soaking up the experienced mid, and I want to see if they're going to play it a little bit different, because Alina is someone who's able to flash farm the jungle very early, but it's kind of difficult because also the Medusa is someone who likes to just shove out mid and then go back and farm the jungle. So I wonder how Xtreme are going to try and prioritize their supports in this game.
Yeah, and even now we've kind of seen like Sand King backed off to the jungle. He's like, oh, any stacks for me? But Lina's already found the stack by the Ancients. So I think Lion had a double stack there earlier and only a triple stack on the Ancients. This is not as many stacks as we saw last game for the Medusa. So it's, you know, he's done an okay job, but there could have been more stacks. And I think that's slowing down the Lina as well as the Medusa a bit. Abaddon gonna be okay for now, but rotating in as the puck. Trolley Aqua is going down. Yeah.
That's a big kill though. Ulu died down bot. I didn't see that. A Storm Laguna Blade probably set up with the Burrow Strike from the Sand King, and yeah, killing off Ulu is very, very big there. Yes, you lose the Abaddon with the rotation from Aster.Aries' puck and also the help of Yuna, but it's the Ursa dying, and now gives Sand King a little bit of catch up here.
That's great, because it looked like Sand King was trying to back off and was thinking about farming the jungle. He cannot afford to be a jungle farmer this game. Like, yeah, you've got your Sand King with Sandstorm, Caustic, and whatnot. You farm jungle camps that are not Ancients very effectively. Ideally, you know, he's asking, like, oh, any stacks for me? You've got to just reserve all farm in the jungle for Medusa. Your game is built around this Medusa getting farmed. Lina taking some early stacks is fine too, but Sand King, he's number 3 in terms of priority, and he's much better off making plays, and that's where I like that the Lina makes that move down bottom too, because, again, this is all just space for Medusa. He's going to start by farming up this triple stack of the Ancients and starting to make her way towards that Manta style.
Yeah, we saw a very, very fast Manta style timing for Ulu in that game one, and double OQ, if you can continue to find these stacks, and if Aster.Aries can't infiltrate aggressively, do you feel like they actually have a lineup where this time we could see Aries get aggressive to hunt the Medusa in the jungle?
Yeah, I think Aries are just willing to make those plays more. We've seen from game one they look to be the at times more aggressive team when they have an edge and when they feel like they need to be. If not contesting the Ancients, I think they're going to be playing around that top jungle, trying to farm out, basically take away this top jungle from Xtreme Gaming, and also securing Roshan. Like, they're the ones with Ursa. You know, he's got the Morbid Mask, didn't get the Possess Mask, but basically, if Medusa is farming Ancients with heroes protecting her, then you should be able to get yourself a free Roshan.
Is there a time that we would be expecting Aster.Aries to feel comfortable with looking to take that first Roche of the game?
I would always say, yeah, as soon as possible, because that second Roche can be so impactful with the 3 items you get. So the sooner you get this first Roche, like, you're not going to use it to like take any crazy team fight, but ideally it's as soon as possible. I think they're waiting for maybe each hero to get like one big item. They've got the Veil and Puck. Doom's close. I think Doom BKB is probably where they start getting pretty scary. But now they're looking to make a move down bottom on Sand King, who is not an easy kill, but with the coil, they should have this. Okay, he's an easy kill. I take that.
A lot of damage. We've been seeing a lot more of the Veil. I mean, supports have been putting priority on it, but Phoenix this game, do you feel like just when you're against a Medusa, you kind of need that little bit of damage amplification, and that's where the Veil can help out?
Yep. absolutely. I asked, it's funny, I was just casting with Pondo, I literally asked him that exact question. I was like, we're seeing a lot of Veil in China, what's the deal? His thing is, rather than just stealing his answer, I'll credit him. In China, I think the item decision making is usually a lot more team oriented, and Veil is just like, we're going to boost up 5 heroes damage. Rather than get something to improve my game, let's get something that improves the game of, maybe not 5 heroes, because like Ursa's not dealing much magic damage, but 3 to 4 of these heroes deal magic damage, so Veil can be really impactful this game.
Aqua,
Ooh, they got the break.
It's gonna fall up top. Very nicely
Ooh,
done.
nice sharpshooter.
Erna with the ulti there, Ulu as well. Just and it's a kill and a support, but honestly, that's just a little extra gold into the backpack of the Ursa, which is going to get him closer to the diffusal blade, and this big first item for him could wreak havoc in the early game.
They definitely want that Rosh. I think maybe to get it, they want to take this tier 1 mid tower. That makes that Rosh a whole lot safer, but easier said than done. Their lineup doesn't push towers particularly well, so Ursa may just feel like walking in there regardless. I don't think Diffusal's the item timing you need to go Rosh. Maybe just more points in overpower. He's got 3 points in it now, so earlier Rosh the better. He's near the pit. Is he going in? Yeah, here we go. Rosh time. They seem to know that Xtreme Gaming are playing the bottom side of the map, so they feel like Rosh is safe.
Coming though. Sanking, blink completed. Also, BKB just delivered. Let's see, who do they want to reveal it on? But the IP casts it, gets the Burrow Strike initiation of the puck, but where's the follow-up? It's there. Nado brings him down thanks to the Finger of Death, and now they can turn to deal with the Ancient Apparition. They have to keep tabs on Roshan, though. If you're not seeing Ursa on the map, he's got to be somewhere, and he's hitting Rosh. It's going to go for free. Maybe they get him as he's running out of the pit, but hey, thank you, Gabe, and why not give him a free mobility in the Earth Shock, and he's out of there.
It's tough. It's kind of inevitable that this Ursa, I feel like, gets Roshan, unless you're willing to... If they play around that Rosh area, constantly scouting and contesting it, the problem is they're going to be out-farmed, because there's just so much more farm in this bottom side of the map around the Radiant jungle and their Ancients. That's their area. They took the bottom tier 1 tower, which means they have full access to this Radiant jungle, so they're playing a farm game, which means, okay, we'll give them a free Roshan. Medusa's still farming. I think it's the right call for Xtreme Gaming not to contest Roshan. The kill on the puck plus the mid tier 1 tower was a great move. That really sets them up to have a strong mid game now that that tier 1 mid is down. The key thing is not giving Aster.Aries second Roshan. That's where 3 items out of that. By that point, Medusa should at least have Manta plus maybe an ultimate orb or whatever. We'll see if she goes Skadi or Butterfly first. She's got Butterfly queued up, but Medusa should be well on her way or maybe have completed her second big item then.
My issue with the Aegis getting picked up is that this might give Aster.Aries an opportunity now to take the tier 1 mid. And
yeah,
you, as a Medusa lineup, you always need to keep those towers alive for as long as possible, because you're not going to have as much impact in the early game, and you are someone who relies a lot more on flash farming and getting to this heavy item timing. So now with that Aegis, it might enable Aster.Aries a little bit more to take this tier 1 mid, but we already see how Xtreme Gaming are trying to counter that. They're just going to put the Sand King here when he's got this max out Sandstorm, so it's very capable of being able to shove out the lane without kind of putting himself in too much of a dangerous position.
Yeah, and he's got his own sentry in that mid river, so he knows that they don't really see him as well. If like a gank comes his way with a smoke, or let's say Puck's blinking him with a dust, he's just going to instantly blink away. The second he sees any hero mid that looks like they're ganking him, he's blinking out of here. So this is a very effective way to just defend this mid lane. I was totally agreeing with you. I think it may just be too hard to defend this mid lane into the Aegis, but Sand King showing that there is potentially a way for them to do it. I think if you're Aster.Aries, you've got to be thinking about making a smoke move here. I feel like we haven't really seen any smoke rotations come out. Eunice got one on the Hoodwink, and oh boy, they coil an illusion. Miscue there.
Yeah.
It feels like they're playing just too passively on the Aster.Aries side. They're going to smoke now. I feel like they could have gone for maybe 1 or 2 more smokes already. But this is a very scary timing. The Aegis plus having the Doom BKB Blink. The Blink Dagger seems to have been the item they were waiting for. The Blink Warstone.
Double ward. jump in. They find the line. They're going to be careful if they group up with the Sand King. He's going to drop his Epi solo on the Ursa. He's like, okay, I've got ages. I don't care. A great Ice Blast on the backline. They get the Doom on the Lina. With the Fury Soul movement speed along with the Boots of Travel, Lina should be able to get back to safety. Now, Doom, he's committed pretty heavily here. Has to pop his BKB, but they're able to look to turn as the rest of Raiding, they're completely dipped away from the Doom. That is a wasted fight from Aster.Aries. His Xtreme Gaming doing an incredible job to hold this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, that was just so good. The puck Dream Call being down ended up being really problematic. It was a great time to go for the smoke from Aster.Aries with the double blinks. They get the nice jump, kill the Lion, but then they don't have that Dream Call. To get those follow-up kills and force a mid tier 1 tower play, they had to have that Dream Coil, and Xtreme Gaming just kited them well. Great job continuing to right-click the Doom, canceling his blink. He's going for that BKB run away into blink play as I think gets picked off, soloed by the Sand King as well down bottom. That's a Finger of Death. And his Lion also contributes, but just really well executed team fight. Xtreme Gaming playing very well while kind of being the ones on the back foot from their defending point of view.
Yeah, and so far I've seen the Lina a couple times versus the Doom, and I've actually been a decent fan of the Lina matchup. Like, you have the Boots of Travel, maxed out, you know, the Fury Soul, even when he gets that 20 talent as well. He's moving 483, and unless you have Coil, then Storm, he's okay. There is no way you're going to control him, and it gets to a stage as well where, well, actually, it would just be a pick off on Aqua. It's just the warding expedition as we see so often. He's got some backup though. Sand King, Lion, nearby in the area. They get the jump on the Doom, but he doesn't have the ultimate, so it's not really as much of a valuable target. The trader 1-for-1 at the moment, but now you see the right clicks. They're coming out in full force here for Xtreme. They're even got a wrap on the backline as Storm is recognizing the angle of retreat, but a blink to safety means that Doom is going to get back to the fountain health.
Sand King didn't have mana, or he may have. Sand King was nearby to go for another blink stun on the Doom, but as the BKB wore off, like we saw last team fight, but without mana, he couldn't do it. So, still another pretty good team fight for Xtreme Gaming. They're just that's another BKB forced out from Doom. They're just playing these fights really well. I love what you said about the Lina versus Doom, and something Storm's doing really well. It seems like he always has that triple fiery soul stack up. Like he's never. Often, I think, you know, inexperienced Lina players will just be running around without these stacks. It's so much movement speed, and it's so much survivability as well. He loses them now because he's invis, waiting to make a play, but pretty much every other time I'm looking at him, he's just using a spell on the ground, not even to farm creeps, just to keep those stacks up.
Yeah, it's so important this game, and once he gets maybe Daedalus, MKB, whatever the item's going to be, he can actually stand his ground and just shred through the Doom. So that's where Doom's itemization, you see he's actually going Shivas back into the early Aeon Disc. So it could be, yes, often we think Lina is prime target to Doom, but you know, with an Abaddon to protect you, maybe that's enough health pool for Lina just to burst you down, and Doom, he'll just think otherwise then afterwards of using that big ultimate. His top line is going to fall, sharpshooter on point from the Hoodwink once again, but this game, we're continuing to have another slow game whenever the Medusa is in the lineup. Now, do we feel like, yes, you've got a Doom on Aster.Aries, we've seen his scaling potential, but can Aster.Aries go toe-to-toe in the late game here, or is this slow game favoring Xtreme Gaming?
It's definitely favoring Xtreme Gaming. I think Medusa is, you know, the king of carries when it comes to late game matchups here. Ursa's going to be hitting a BKB timing soon. I think we are going to see Aster.Aries look to make some plays in the near future once they get their next round of items. The key thing for them is, ultra late game, it's going to come down to having that Refresher Doom with the Aeon Disc. So the Aeon Disc on Doom is so key to get your spells up because you're playing against Sand King, Lion, Lina. There's all this chain stun and burst on the enemy team where you can't rely on your BKB to get your spells off if you get Blink Impaled or Blink Bar Strike, Blink Hex, whatever it may be. So Aeon Disc timing is very strong for the Doom, but at the same time, Xtreme Gaming, it's so much, it's just Medusa Gaming. Like, how do you kill or deal with this Medusa on the front lines? They're going to have to kill all the supporting tasks first, which is not the easiest thing in the world when there's an Abaddon.
Oh, Phoenix. Sand King. Oh, nice phase shift. That's way too close for comfort. Oh my
Still
lord.
sticking
He's
around.
actually going to drop the coil.
Yeah.
They've got the backup of the team though. Smoke up. Who can they find? Jump in. Double wall stop with the Doom straight on top of the Medusa's head. They find the Abaddon as well. He's going to try and pop the borrowed time now with the shield, but it's not enough to keep the Medusa alive. His Aqua's targeted next. It's a great smoke maneuver. They dangled the puck underneath the tier 2 tower and they evaporate 2 heroes in Xtreme Gaming.
This is the AA effect. There's just too much damage coming out when you've got like an Ice Vortex plus Ice Blast there. That Medusa just melted. And the Abaddon a little bit out of position, got caught with the Medusa, with the initial Blink War Stomp. Does pop the borrowed time basically on full health just to shield the Medusa. The problem is then you don't have borrowed time for the actual team fight, and there's also a follow-up stun. The Bushwhack comes in afterwards, so as soon as Medusa gets shielded, she gets basically caught again, and she can't move. She's just getting picked off. The Abaddon needs to be further back, doesn't have the 4 stuff yet. Nice pick.
Falls. This is the BKB on Storm. I thought Phoenix was going to jump with that Ice Blast, but this is really, really important. This could actually tell the tale of this game here. If they can get this second Roshan, it's so important on an Ursa. With that Aghanim shot, it's a massive power spike here. And Xtreme Gaming, they're not in the area.
This is the second Roshan. They're going to be too late. It feels like they're TPing mid to try go for that smoke play to contest it. Abaddon's just charging forward like, oh, I can scout this, but it's too late. That's Ursa with an Ag Shard.
We were bringing up in the draft that this is kind of the timing that Ursa has, and if we're confident for them to take it, you need that second Roshan, and well, they've got it now. 5,000 net worth lead with these items picked up, and they might just try and look for a play on top of the top tier 2 tower. Now, you do have to be careful though, because Lion with the Lina can burst you down from 4 to 0 and take care of that Aegis, so Ursa's going to make sure he's got some friends on the backup. The A is not enough.
Yeah,
not enough at all. No force, no glimmer, no nothing. As Ursa's first life, goodbye. They'll deal with the Aegis, but here comes the rotations. Are they able to bait forward for more? And can they lock him down before the BK? But the LSA timing's on point. But there we go with the Rage after the Earth Shock. And Ulu's going to look to turn. But Storm with the BKB looking to play it out. He can't stand his ground and man fight. The Fury swipes is stacking up. They're able to bring him down, but the Ice Blast on point. They'll kill off the Lina, and they're looking to hunt for more. As the Abaddon's caught with a borrowed time on cooldown, he can't run out of the coil. So that is a 2-for-1 technically, with the Aegis getting claimed.
It was a great move to get the Aegis, but I think the right call was, well, I mean, in hindsight, definitely the right call was just to back off. Like, I think it should have been clear to Xtreme Gaming that tier 1 tower is up, multiple TPs immediately came, and Ursa out of the Aegis, he Earth Shocked, so that shard gives him that minion rage, so that LSA, even though the timing was good, instantly basically wears off.
Well, they say the Sand King. Oh, no. Nice orb from Phoenix. That's a big play.
The Ice Blast goes fishing for more, but Lion's already blinked out of there. Tier 2 tower means they can take the enemy outpost, get some more experience, or as their advantage goes. But yeah, Aster.Aries just making the right moves to kind of counterplay there. And I'm not very convinced about Storm's Desert pickup. I feel like Daedalus is just a better damage output item for the carry Lina, but wanting something a bit cheaper, I guess. Definitely the right approach to this game, going for the physical damage on the Lina, but it does feel like this game is going to be a tough one for Xtreme Gaming.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I mean, you take a look at the Radiant lineup though, like AA 6 armor, Puck is always a hero that's got very low armor, 11 at the moment, Hoodwink's on 12, Aster.Aries an Agi carry, and Doom's going to go for some armor items, but yeah, I kind of agree. Like, we see that Daedalus a lot more often here, but maybe the Deso against these low armor items could be enough with the physical damage that Deucer is just going to be ripping out in these fights, but yeah, very methodical play. Tier 2 tower claim from Aster.Aries, and they're looking to reset, go for more.
That's a good point. It does boost up Medusa's damage output if they're hitting the same target, so. The team item, we kind of touched upon the Veil, how it's this team-oriented item. In some ways, Deso can be as well when you've got another right-clicker to go with you.
Smoked up, Sand King's gonna pop. Where's the vision? Oh, is it just a double? No, there's the double Earth Spike. If they're able to burst him down, they are. No BKB, no Enrage. They get rid of the Ancient Apparition too. Great smoke play from Xtreme Gaming. They steer into the Ancients. The puck wasn't there. We're showing on bot, so they knew they had a numbers advantage. 2 big kills to pick up.
It's a tough game for Ursa. I mean, you're playing against the burst damage, and not a hero that will normally go for the A on this. Doesn't have the SMY for any kind of status resistance and survivability. If this Ursa gets caught by a stun pre-Enrage or pre-BKB, good chance he's just going to melt, as we saw top lane and as we saw just there. So I think that's going to kind of change how the Ursa maybe needs to approach this game. Those recent deaths, as whether or not it's popping his Enrage early or popping his BKB early, he cannot afford to be the one getting jumped.
Yeah, you see Xtreme Gaming, they have like the Abaddon support, which can kind of disrupt the initial jump and at least allow you to get these survivability items or even abilities off as well. So maybe this is going to have to force Aster.Aries to go for some defensive items, as we do see AA has got the Force and he has the Glimmer Cape queued up as well.
The Force stuff can make a big difference. Like when he's stunned, just pushing him. Hopefully he's facing the direction away from the enemy heroes. And even if he's not, sometimes just that Force stuff can mean a misspell or you reduce some of the damage coming out. Real guarantees necessarily. I think the big thing for Aster.Aries is they don't want to be getting jumped at the start of a fight, particularly if they don't have Aeon Disc. The puck has one ready to assemble, and the Doom has one queued up. So if you don't have Aeon Disc, you need to be the ones starting the fight yourselves.
Getting into the tier 3 item territory. Spider Leg's always nice for a late game carry when you want to drop those boots just for the mobility. A bit early on for them, so I wonder if you give it over to the Sand King, who's actually even holding the Fairy's trinket still.
Yeah, a pretty value item in many ways. But
that's not too bad. That's value. Orbit Destruction on the Deucer.
Okay, yeah, I like it. A lot of minus armor coming out. The minus armor is starting to stack up with the Deso as well. But yeah, some of these tier 3 items is probably what's being eyed. I feel like the Spider Legs may end up going to the Medusa's way if she gets like near 6 slotted for replacing the boots, but she still has a bit of a ways to go.
Lane Dire. They're actually going to back off here. They've got a really strong Observe Ward in kind of that Tinker position. I thought they were going to jump as soon as they saw the TPs, but they're looking to just reset and shove out some of the other lanes. Mid's about even, but bot is the lane they're looking to try and get back in their favor. Do you feel like this game might just continue to slow down even more until Roshan is back up for either team?
I think that makes a lot of sense. The ward will get taken out and dealt with. NATO was in the neighborhood, but didn't have any backup, so both teams, I mean, especially Xtreme Gaming, their draft does scale a bit better going to the late game, but at the same time, it's also late game Doom, so I think both teams have late game ways to win these fights. I would feel slightly more confident being in Xtreme Gaming's shoes with the late game drafts, and oh, this Medusa. It's caught by the Shiver Slow, but I'm not sure. Okay, they do ping. It looks like they do notice she's there, but don't feel confident taking this fight.
Yeah, it's going to get to the stage pretty soon where it's coming down to Doom. Are you able to get the target on a very valuable hero from Xtreme Gaming? I mean, he's incredibly farmed, but it's not as impactful of a game as what we saw from him in game 1. I mean, he's 3rd in net worth. He's only died once. He's got the Aeon Disc Refresher queued up, so if he can get to that stage where Double Doom is going to be in the arsenal, then it could spell a little bit of a worry here for Xtreme Gaming. But for now, it looks like they're very happy with the position they're in.
I like the Aster.Aries. They pass over the Philosopher's Stone to the AA. I believe Hoodwink was carrying it for most of the game, but the AA is the one who needs it. This Force Staff is going to have much bigger impact than any item that the Hoodwink can get. And, you know, Hoodwink or bow, not the most amazing, but not terrible. The magic resist is kind of nice with the attack.
Storm.
Yeah. Storm's going to be careful. Ice Blast might scout him out.
Vision.
Uh-oh. Doom.
He blinked already.
There we go. They had
he
vision.
gets it. Nick of time.
That was
Now
so
it's going to come
close.
down to the Roche Spawn. Let's see. Couple seconds. What's the gamble here for Aster.Aries?
2 minutes.
Ah, you hate to see it. 2 minutes.
Yeah. It was potentially going to be a big one if they had like a sub 30, 40 second one. But, That's Doom down as well, though. So I guess the good news is that when Roche is back up, they'll have Doom. Because when Lina respawns, there's a 60-second window with no Doom available. Does have the refresher. He's going for, well, not doesn't. It does have it queued up. He's going for it before the Aeon Disc. I think that seems fine. The refresher is such a big item. We're already in that crazy late game where he doesn't have any one single amazing Doom target that wins in the fight. So he's thinking, I just got to Doom as many people as possible. You may even consider throwing one of your Dooms on this Abaddon just to stop those shield saves. Like if your teammates engage on Medusa and you Doom Abaddon +1, that isn't terrible by any means. But just making sure you get 2 Dooms off is the key thing.
Pick off goodbye, my lord, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Aegon, only level 1, but with sharpshooter too. So a couple of freebies here for Aster.Aries will give them an opportunity to get to map control before Roche is up. And I was thinking maybe Xtreme Gaming could use this timing, knowing Doom's on cooldown, to maybe smoke up after the Lina respawn, but with the Lion dead, that might not be a possibility. They might even be able to get Aqua too. Yorin is such a nuisance on the Hoodwink.
Trying to just force out a borrowed time, even though it's a 50-second cooldown. If you pop it, it may create. Yeah, they're still trying to pop this borrowed time because if it's on cooldown, taking Roche suddenly becomes a whole lot more viable. Abaddon has to position way differently when his ultimate's on cooldown. So similar to the Aeon Disc, where I mean, basically that's what Abaddon's ultimate is. It's an Aeon Disc. So popping it can be a very value way to approach a key fight. If it's on cooldown, suddenly this Abaddon cannot position aggressively like you'd like to.
Yeah, and we've seen through the past couple of fights, like Aqua's positioning, if he gets caught out on top of a core, then it's a little bit awkward because you're going to continue to get chain locked down. But if you're positioning slightly behind, getting that aphotic shield save, you know, even kind of negating a little bit of the Doom damage as well is going to be really important. And well, we got our own Aeon Disc for the Lion. Nardo picks that one up, and they're also going to look for a smoke maneuver. But what do you know? Just another position 5 in Prime's position.
Have the vortex,
be able to try and pop the smoke here.
Got an epicenter.
The vision with the Warsaw, they all group up with the BKBs. Doom's gonna fly. It's on the Medusa. They're actually just standing in the ground and trying to beat it burst. They gotta get inside the gate. Phoenix is able to snag the Aegis. No, Medusa's falling incredibly low, but the epicenter for the BKBs neglects all the magical damage. Medusa's gone down for 80 seconds, and this Roche fight is disastrous for Xtreme Gaming. They'll lose 3, making a 4th as well. The gem on the deck. Nardo just gets away with his life, claiming the Aegis, but Aster.Aries, what a fight.
Yeah, getting 2 Dooms off, 1 on the Medusa, and more than anything, stealing the Aegis. That's how you play against Doom in the late game. You always want to have an Aegis on your carry. Medusa only managed to get the cheese, but couldn't pop it because of the Doom. And a great team fight coming in from Aster.Aries, making the plays. Puck getting the Aegis was just absolutely huge for them. They also stole a refresher shard, so things looking really good for them. Ursa may even consider giving that one over to the Doom, although it's pretty good for the double BKB on Ursa as well, plus the double Enrage. So wherever it ends up, it's a very high impact item. And 20 seconds to poke at this high ground. This is going to be one full lane of Rex, uncontested. Xtreme Gaming now going to have their backs against the wall.
Yeah, we've been saying that Aster.Aries don't really have the strongest lineup to be able to take objectives, but when you bring down multiple heroes that don't have buyback, that is an incredible window to enable you to get these objectives. And like you just said, Xtreme Gaming backs against the wall. They are 1 game away from their hopes of TI10 being eliminated here. As you know, the boys on Radiant, 12,000 net worth lead, and with a fight like that, they've got a lot of momentum heading into the next fight now.
Puck is just dealing so much damage. This magic damage Veil plus Dagon 4, about to be Dagon 5 build has been nuts. You have a spell amp talent as well. Puck is just blowing heroes up. Here come Xtreme Gaming. They may be up, well, there's no Aegis, they dealt with it, but they want to fight. They know these Dooms are on cooldown. That's the big spell for this Radiant side. 30 seconds without Doom, but it seems like Aster.Aries knows something is amiss. They are hiding on their high ground with 4 heroes. Only the Hoodwink playing out on the map, and Hoodwink has that Scurry, plus the Camouflage. And even if Hoodwink dies, at this part of the map, it doesn't lead to anything, so you don't mind if your Hoodwink gets picked off.
Yeah, not at all. This is just space. They recognize that Our ultimate's on cooldown. Our Doom's about to come back up. Refresher's about to come back up. We cannot take a fight right now. So just the awareness to be able to kind of play a little bit more on the back foot, give up the map, but we know in short time that we're going to be able to get that control back. And now we see them outside the base, and it's another early Aeon disc, but this is just kind of showing how this item is evolving into the meta. It's such a nutty item.
By the way, this AA BKB. What the hell? You know,
has to get ulti off. What's?
I think this is terrible, but you know, they're winning, so I feel like I gotta look for the positive. But why not? Aeon disc is better. The four staff idea was great. This is not the right item for Simon's cap, but you know, there have been some fights where they try going him, like the Sand King a little bit, but it's like, he's just sitting, you just gotta sit back. Nobody should be ever getting on top of you. They don't have jump outside of the Sand King, so yeah, it's not a good item, but ultimately, doesn't matter right now because they're in a position where they're playing forward. They have the double Dooms online, and this game is looking very good for them with the Refresher Shard Ursa in the front lines. Great choice with the MKB to deal with the Medusa evasion.
They're a bit split right now. Puck showing bot. Gonna TP the mid lane, jumping once again straight on top of Medusa. Aqua, they need the protection, but Medusa's running further away from the Abaddon. They pop the refresher. Nado's gonna get controlled at the moment. He does have a buyback to rejoin the fight, but Medusa is disconnected once again. Storm's, he just can't help out. He's towards the northern side. The pop the cheese. Ursa, he's gone incredibly deep at the moment. Maybe this is where a 4-star would have helped in hand. We'll use him up in the air.
There's the BKB from AA! Watch out!
Watch out! He's got to be careful. Oh, it enables him to get back to safety. What a BKB pickup. And they're out of there. You know, scurry away. They'll just find him. He's got the Aeon disc. Another round of the scurry up in a couple of seconds. It's still going to be a difficult target to bring down. Will they even be able to? Okay. GoDz is there, but they're TPing in. Now it's this time that Xtreme Gaming, they're pushing up really far.
Oh, Ice Blast.
Ice Blast, Storm.
He's life sealing.
Careful.
Okay, he'll survive through this. Oh, see?
Phoenix, they're coming. Got a great ward in the river, but they will not jump forwards. I say that.
Got the borrowed time off. He was trying to blow him up through the damage threshold, but I mean, Medusa, that's why you buy 4 stars. That Medusa gets 4 staff away from the Ice Blast landing, and is able to reset that fight really well. It goes, in the end, goes pretty well for Xtreme Gaming. They don't get any big kills off of it, but they save their heroes, 2 Dooms used, and no kills picked up by Aster.Aries. So, you know, that's a huge win for them. It opens up a little window where they can play aggressive, but generally what we're seeing is when these Dooms are on cooldown, Aster.Aries are playing very passively, very safe, and until those Dooms are back up, they won't make any moves out on the map. Right now, they just want to pick up some of their tier 4 neutral items, it looks like.
They also use that refresher shard as well on the Ursa, so just another little bit of an advantage they had from the third Roshan, now not in the arsenal for them.
Yeah, it was used really well. Like, Ursa got full value out of double BKB and double Enrage. He would have died. Like, he was committing hard and deep into that fight, but didn't have enough damage or backup to really finish off any of those kills. Just great defensive plays. The Abaddon, you can see why it's picked, why it's so popular in a fight like that.
We're gonna smoke up, but again, it's taking a little bit too long. Doom's up in 5 seconds, also Refresher in 15. So unless they connect to a fight right now, Radiant, they will have everything available. And it looks like that is another smoke wasted for Xtreme Gaming, which is, it's definitely potential. It actually potentially may bite them as this game continues on. Those smokes really valuable.
Yeah, definitely a precious commodity, but Aster.Aries themselves deciding now is the time for them to go for a smoke. Pressure's back online.
Oh, get out of there. No, don't run up there.
That's the wrong way.
Do they have detection though? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know if they were ready for that. They have it on the AA, but that's not like... I guess that's why you have the BKB, so you can run into pop dust without dying. But I think one of their frontline heroes needs... Okay, they've got a gem on Hoodwink. I mean, I think the Puck should be the one carrying gem here. He's got a null talisman he can replace. Yeah, that's
Sand King kicks coil. He's got gem too.
Gets out of the Ice Blasts, thanks to the... Just breaks the coil, and smart decision just to break the coil, tank the stun and then Burrow Strike away, because that Ice Blast would have maybe finished him off. Very tense game here as... Yeah, I think this puck definitely needs to be carrying a gem. Has the item slot. I guess if you... Yeah, basically it has the item slot until that E-Blade comes out.
Get rid of the null.
It's nice on the Hoodwink. It's not a bad gem carry, but at least for this stage of the game, puck being in the front lines, both of these skills, it's got a lot of value on. But there we go. AA has the money for a 4-staff now, but may want to save for buyback. We'll see. I don't mind the idea of saving for buyback here, but I also do mind the getting the BKB. As we saw last, the BKB TP out. That is one of the funniest things I've seen in Dota in a while, I'm going to be honest. It was just... Oh.
That's the play. Oh, Radiant. It's a great ward on the high ground, but it's just a Sand King along with the Abaddon. Quick Sandstorm, and the BKB's wasted.
Roche is up, by the way.
Gonna look to
very
retreat.
fast respawn.
Phoenix in the wings, looking for an angle to get the jump. Backward once again. They need to try and pop the burrow time. A bit difficult to do so, so it's 100% they're aware of that ward, but fourth Roche is up and available. Refresher Shard and the Aghanim's Blessing here.
And I think if you're Xtreme Gaming, you just can't fight around that ward. They know it's there, so they need to play around the other kind of high ground, which is they probably, if they have a ward, need to just put it on that cliff, even though it gets de-warded, or they need to find a way to de-ward it. They go with the de-ward puck. Again, trying to blow up this Abaddon. The Ice Blast will catch him without borrowed time.
He's got out on this puck, should be fine.
Okay.
Now they're coming over. Got the outpost control. He can buy back and rejoin them. The core drop. Stone Gaze has to force the Aster.Aries to look to reset.
He's got the shard. Needs to find a good Mystic Snake or a shard prop. Full-blooded.
So what was forced out there? Coil, pretty short cooldown. BKB on Ursa. More importantly, it feels like the Stone Gaze and the fact that Medusa doesn't have too much mana at the moment.
Yeah, Medusa's kind of heading back to base, maybe to get mana. Also needs to push out this top lane. That one lane of super creeps can start causing some problems. Medusa shows, so that's the Aries know. If they can find a jump around this Roche pit, it could be an opening for them while Medusa's not there. Medusa does have mana once again, so. We got a bit of a big standoff here as Dooms are online. Again, it's the Observer Ward on the cliff that gets de-warded now, so Xtreme Gaming managed to deny some of that important Roche vision.
I think they actually placed another one there. Yeah, they did. So that's 2 wards now for Aster.Aries actually going around the Roche pit. They've still got one around the mid Ruva, but they can kite the fight to that vicinity. We see how important it is. Like, Aster, you need vision. Ursa, sorry, I should say the Doom, he needs to have a target to get the jump. He's prioritizing Thusa, probably going to prioritize the Lina as well. But if you can't see these heroes, then it's going to make it that much more difficult. But they're enticing them. They're saying, we're strong. We're happy with fighting right now. Xtreme Gaming, you've got to come to us. Aeon Disc already early proc here thanks to the Finger of Death.
Yeah, interesting trade. The Finger of Death is...
Oh no, Storm! He catches out. You're in it with the camouflage. Okay.
Gets out of there, but very low on mana. Lina can still fight, but won't have a Laguna Blade. The Finger of Death to proc Aeon Disc, I don't mind that. It makes the Puck's teamfight very difficult, and they have plenty of damage coming in from the Lina and now the Medusa at this stage of the game, so... A pretty clever play, I think, from the Lion, which is going to, you know, suddenly the Puck can't just go blinking into a bunch of heroes looking for those Dagons and whatnot. Both teams will continue the standoff. Good scouting, of course, from the Radiant side with the Ice Vortex. Dire have okay options with the Illusionist Cape and the Manta, which are constantly being sent out.
Yona's baiting, I believe, right now. They are aware Sand King's up on that high ground.
Yeah.
Big old hero ward.
Big timing coming out for the Medusa. Level 25 is very close. The big problem, if they get, I think this Ag Scepter should go to the Doom, if anything.
They've already burrowed. This is Roche giving up now that he burrowed down from the high ground, I think.
They go for the steal, maybe. Lion's in position.
They need to cancel the blinks. Doom's going to jump forward. Bye-bye, Abaddon. Another sharpshooter on the mark. And now the Abaddon, it's so impactful to defend you versus the Doom, so they've got to be careful about resetting. But Storm? The BKB from Siamese Cat He gets back to safety. They've caught out the Medusa. Phoenix, Waning Rift, drag back closer to the targets on Aster.Aries. The Epi's out, but the damage, it's neglected completely. They don't have the stacker. Medusa trying to stand her ground and man fight, but she can't do anything. Brought down to the decks, 95-second Storm. He'll lose his life as well. They do have a couple of buybacks, but they're doing absolutely no damage right now as Aster.Aries run over them in this fight. The Age is going to get claimed deep underneath the tier 2 tower, but there's a big win condition. Instant of Rage, Ulu, he's still got the refresher shot though. The Hex is out, it's going to be able to pop it now with the BKB. Look, determined, it's going to get back to safety. Dire, they've got the numbers advantage to the moment. Radiant, they're a little bit disconnected. Who can they catch though? Siamese Cat, the BKB, not available to be used this time. They'll find the Ancient Apparition, but this is a big window for Aster.Aries. A buyback forced on your Lina and the Medusa.
Yeah, and Sand King, all 3 cores using their buybacks there. That is huge opening for them if they can find any of these key kills. They do commit Aegis and Refresher Shard. Ursa now has the Ag's Blessing as well, so can use that in Rage while he's stunned up, and he's got a cheese in his backpack, which he may pass to someone or decide to try and use in these fights, but once these Dooms are back up, it feels like Xtreme Gaming, I think they may just have to go into either high ground defense mode, or they need to make a super, like, crazy aggressive smoke out play. Like, I don't think they can just play out on the map in a passive way. They need to be the ones either starting a fight or just sitting back, playing behind their base, like deep by their 2-4 towers and behind their racks.
What do you feel like is going wrong here for Xtreme Gaming through these fights? Is there anything they can work on right now before the next fight, or?
It's tough. The Abaddon can't afford to just get picked off like that. Like, the way Aster.Aries are either bursting him through the borrowed time or forcing him to pop it and then finding a pick off later on him is really good. And then Medusa just doesn't have those shields to kind of enable her. She got caught by the Hunter's Boomerang, which slowed her down and got rid of some of that status resistance. And that caused a lot of problems. So I think the Abaddon needs to stay alive at more than anything, and they don't really have any good ways to buff up this Medusa. Like the Solar Crest type items I feel like would go a long way. The Lotus Orb is nice, but they need to just do everything they can to enable this Medusa. Maybe they just need a Rapier, I don't know. They get a Lincoln Sphere for now, so that's going to be the answer for OOQ, who does still have only the Illusionist cape to play around. He's, you know, perhaps he did get a Flicker. I'm a bit surprised to see him not using that one, but
OOQ?
yeah.
They're actually opting to defend the tier 2 tower. Here, Cordy's got the Abbott on the backup. Got to keep in mind the Lincolns as well. But now the Lincoln's going to get popped. He doesn't have a buyback. OOQ! What are you doing there?
Oh, another Doom.
That's not a position you can be with the rest of the team. We're on the high
Lina.
ground. Second Doom's out. They've caught the Lina. The War Storm's on point. Ban the Doom. Get him out of the game. Way too much chaos in these late game fights as Aster.Aries will take the series and knock out Xtreme Gaming.
Whew, convincing stuff at the end. Not the quickest of games from Aster.Aries, but I actually think Xtreme Gaming had the better draft this game. I think they got outplayed in the end, outmaneuvered. I really like how the Puck itemized and played these fights. He was constantly, you know, he was willing to put himself in these dangerous... He's playing against a Lion Sand King, and he's blinking in aggressively, using his Dagon, forcing the Abaddon either to get bursted or pop his borrowed time. It was just really solid play from the Puck. He was kind of the standout for me. AABKB also a standout for other reasons, but just a really good game of Dota from both teams. Unfortunately, Xtreme Gaming showing some of their inexperience here. You know, this was a much better game than game number 1, but you know, it is the better team who will go forward.
I'm excited to see how Aster.Aries are able to continue on in the low bracket, because yes, they got knocked down by eHome, but the 2 games they played, they looked pretty solid in those games, and now being able to 2-0 Xtreme Gaming, looking pretty solid in these games as well. It's just their coordination through the late game, just how they're able to calm the situation down, make sure they've got the vision advantage, getting these jumps, and just constantly feels like they were getting the priority target with all these Dooms. Just game 1, game 2, they're just taking heroes out of the fights left, right, and center in the late game was too much for them to handle. Unfortunate for Xtreme Gaming, they're going to get knocked out of their hunt for the TI10 qualifiers here. And well, we're going to send it to a break. When we come back, we'll break down this series.